Our society as a whole has really feminized men and masculinized women.
But be present, be confident, be grounded. Dudes have no idea how to do that nowadays.
And so there's no polarity anymore. You either have a you either have a happy woman or you have a strong woman. And if you have a strong woman, like, you're not doing your job.
Yo, Chrissy, introduce yourself, por favor.
So, hi everybody. My name is Chrissy Bonadou. So, I am a little jack of all trades over here. So, I'm a fitness instructor, a holistic health coach. I'm a mom. I've ran an online health and wellness business for the last 13 or 14 years. I've been divorced now for 10 years. So, I've been out in the dating world, and I have 2 teenagers now. So, that's interesting. I run women's retreats. I had a podcast for a little while. That's coming back. So I kind of have a little bit of everything going on. And if you know anything about human design, I'm a manifesting generator. So that really makes sense because it means, yeah, I'm a Virgo and a Manny Gen. So it makes sense that, I got all these balls in the air all the time because I don't sit well. I don't settle well. So I have a new idea and I run with it. So that's kind of why I have all of the things. But really, at the end of the day, what I consider myself in every aspect in my life is a coach, whether that be through women's retreats and I'm helping, life coach. I have my life coaching certification, or that's on the fitness floor and I'm helping you with your actual fitness, or if I'm helping you with nutrition or hormones. At the end of the day, really, I wear a lot of hats, but what I really am is a coach.
I guess that's a way to sum up who you are. And it's like what really drew me to you is you have a way of making people around you elevated. Like I noticed it when we first went to Candace's comedy thing, right? That's the first time I met you,
Oh,
right? Like we
right. Yeah.
sat right next to you. It was Marie's blind date, right? And then we all
Yes. 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 Yes.
and I remember just like observing and hearing conversations. I'm like, yo, you make people feel better, right? You just have this thing about you that makes people feel better. And I was like, as I watch your stories, and you've also had your own journey with transformation in physical, emotional, like in different realms, right? So I like that's one of the things I'm like, yo, she's the real deal. And like, listen, if I'm gonna go astrology, the fact that she's a Virgo didn't hurt. Virgo stand up. But
Virgos.
who you with? Well, one of the things with Christy, and one of the reasons I want you to introduce yourself because I forgot how to pronounce your last name. So I'm happy that you did that. Bonaduce. Bonaduce.
So Italian is really Bonaduce, but of course, when they
Yeah.
Americanize everything, it became Bonaduce. But really, everybody knows me as Chrissy B, right? So
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
how
But
it is. KB, Chrissy B. That's how everybody knows. So,
it's interesting because I have the tendency to want to say Bonaducci.
which is fine. You can.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
really how you're supposed to say it. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Cool. So I'm
yeah.
gonna say okay then. All
There
right.
you go.
One of the reasons I wanted to chop it up with Chrissy is because Chrissy's real as a mother hoo ha about like men, her journey, the realness. And as I read the comments on something specifically she said about like dating, and she was like, look, if the dude asked me out on a date and he's like, what do you want to do? It's a wrap. What I want to do is argue. I think that's what you had in the thing.
I said, I said, if a man asks me to plan something, the only thing I'm planning is an argument. I mean, really, the only thing I'm planning is an exit plan, but the argument was
Yes.
funnier,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's wild. So that just got me along with some other ones you're talking about. Like, if you ovulate and play with yourself and like forget about it,
Masturbate before you text your ex, girls. Yes. Or men. I mean, really.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, hey, look, it's crazy. So I just dig your content. But one of the things too I wanted to chop it up with you about is the state of masculinity from your perspective. Because like that dating comment, while it's ha ha he, that shit is real.
Oh, it's
Because
very real.
a lot of dudes don't take the lead. So I want to let's start off with like, what's your experience been like with men, whether it's dating or you're observing? men. What's that experience been like for you? I'd say within the past year.
So within the
Mhm.
past year specifically, but I think just overall, masculinity at this point gets a really bad rap. And
Mhm.
so it's now become toxic masculinity. That's like what they're calling it, when really it's actually just masculinity. And so our society as a whole has really feminized men and masculinized women. And so there's no polarity anymore. And so, relationships aren't working. And it's also, when you feminize men, they become easier to control, right? So when you look at it from like a higher purpose power, right? Like that's what they're doing, right? They're weakening men because then society as a whole is much easier to control.
Yep.
But the polarity is so backwards now where women are running the show. And let's be honest, most women take on the role of a mother in a relationship. And then like
Mm.
now this could be from, and so that man is seeking now validation if he didn't have validation from his mother, right? So he's now trying that you marry your parents really essentially, right? Unless you are aware and you peel back those layers and do some work, like you're marrying your parents. That's really what's happening. So now men are becoming trying to be validated by their wives or their partners who basically become their mother. And then here's the reality, right? There's no sexual polarity. You don't want to have sex with your mother. And so that's what's happening, right? And for me personally, like if I'm running the show and I'm in my masculine all the time because I run
Yeah.
businesses, I'm in control of fitness, like all the things. I'm in control all the time. And
Yeah.
so the last place I want to also do that is in my relationship.
Yeah.
And so that's where that whole thing comes where you're in the dating world and it becomes like, where do you want to go? Where do you want to meet? You know, they don't even ask for your phone number. They're like, if you want, text me. Here's my number. It's like, no.
Yeah.
So there's things that I really look for where I'm like an immediate no. And so on a funny note, I mean, a lot of this is funny, but it's so valid and true. But my
Yes.
sister-in-law and I have an ick list. Okay. And we have it in our notes in our phone. And one of the main things is like they want to split 50-50 on the first date. That's a whole
Yeah.
nother thing. Or they ask you where you want to eat or where you want to go, or, no, make a decision. If you can't plan a date, you can't plan a future. That's the
So
bottom
you
line.
said, oh, did you said that somewhere too? I want to touch on that because that whole label, the toxic masculinity bullshit,
Yeah.
is like, oh wait, so when a dude is assertive and he gives direction, he's toxic. Okay, we're teaching men to go away from their gut instinct and to lead, like which is a key component in life. Now these cats are freaking lost. So when you say, yo, if you can't plan a date, you can't plan a future. Listen, guys hearing this, please understand what this means. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I just turned 50 this year, so I'm an old head. Like I was of that generation where you didn't put the number in the phone. So you're like, yo, baby girl, hold up. I got this pen right
Let
here.
me write it down.
Let me write it down real quick. Or then you try to, I don't have a pen. Hold up. 908. Is she fine too? You know what I mean? Like, so it was that, or it was like going to talk to a girl and getting shut down. Then you coming back to your dudes, like, oh, you got that. But you know what? It was the experience, right?
Mhm.
Men don't have that. So for any type of rejection, it's like the end of the world. They're gonna go back into their hut. So coming back to this, like, yo, get to know the person. That means you're active listening, hear what they're saying. Then plan something around that. Be willing to make a miss. Dudes are afraid to plan something because, like, oh, I don't want to mess this up. Bro, you're not marrying the chick. Okay? It's an experience. Go into it like, all right, y'all, I planned this out. We're gonna have a good time. And be cool. Okay? What does that mean? It just means just be present. It's not that you gotta walk with a certain swag, but be present, be confident, be grounded. Dudes have no idea how to do that nowadays. And that's a
No.
practice, right? Would you agree with that protocol for
Yes.
planning
And
a
I
date
think that it's
work?
gotten worse with generations. So, you know, obviously I've dated kind of a little bit through the spectrums at this point. I'm 38. So I'm
Okay.
at the point where I could date you or your daddy,
Okay.
And so I'm in that like, hey. So
Yo, that's a sweet spot
that's
though,
a
no?
sweet spot, right? So it's interesting because definitely the older generation is definitely better at picking up the phone and making a call, right? That's a
Right.
big thing too, where they're keyboard warriors and they're just hiding behind. It's also the last generation of exactly your point, like having to go ask a woman out and taking control versus, now. And I also hate the way dating apps are set up because the woman makes the initial reach out, which I don't like because that already puts you in that alpha, right? So, like, you're already setting the tone for what you don't want. So, the minute I kind of find myself starting to have to like lead a conversation or plan something, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't the energy I want to be in.
Mm,
Now, I'm
mm,
I'm capable of doing it, but I don't want to do it, right? I've
right.
learned specifically that this is what I don't want to do. And for men, the number one thing that men need to understand, your superpower is safety. And I mean safety in, if a woman feels physically safe with you, emotionally safe, mentally safe, like she can be a giddy little girl with you, you will have a wonderful relationship and lots of sexual chemistry. I read something recently that said like, um it was something along the lines of like, show me the woman and I'll tell you what kind of man he is, right? And it was like, you either have a happy woman or you have a strong woman. And if you
Yeah.
have a strong woman, like, you're not doing your job because because she
Ooh.
shouldn't have to be. And I think we've gotten into this whole thing in society where just because a woman can do something doesn't mean that she should. Like, we're teaching women that they can do anything a man can do. That's not true.
Right.
Just like a man can't do everything a woman can do. Like, we weren't created that way. So, especially for people that really strengthen their faith, I mean, that's a whole nother thing, but we just
Right.
weren't designed that way. Obviously, nowadays, most families have to have dual income. So, yes, it is a little bit skewed. However, there's still other ways to exchange that polarity other than just money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so you can also be a provider and a leader, and you're not responsible for 100% of the bills. Like, that's not what it's about. And so a lot of men, that's the pushback I get. Well, like, you're just looking for somebody to take care of me, take care of you. And I'm like, excuse me, you know nothing about me because that is
Yeah.
not the case at all. I'm like, however, it's that safety piece, right? Where, like, if shit goes down, I want to know that you've got me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Another big thing, like on a date too, it's that whole sidewalk rule. If we're walking down the sidewalk and you don't get yourself to the outside of the sidewalk, like, game over. I'm
Yeah.
like, absolute no. Open a door. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not that difficult.
Yeah.
Um, and you will get women that push back, right? That are like, I can open my own door or whatever. And that used to be me, right? Where I was like,
Yeah.
don't buy me flowers, they die. I'm not going to wear pink. I can open my own door. And
Yeah.
honestly, that was trauma in my body. That is not a
Mm.
actual feminine tendency, right? And so people look at my physical transformation and they don't realize that when I was at my heaviest and retaining all this inflammation, right? I was still working out like crazy and eating just as well as I do now, but my
Yeah.
body was retaining all this inflammation because I was so in my masculine energy that, like, it was a physical shield I had up, right? And
Right.
so that's something that I'm gonna start launching in January, is like an actual wellness business that really
Yeah.
centers around like taking trauma and what's stored in our body and how that
Mm-hmm.
affects us physically. But
Mm-hmm.
that was me. I was so in that like forceful energy all the time that I
Yeah.
never tuned into that. And it wasn't until I started my Reiki journey like 8 or 9 years ago. And this
Because
woman was
you're a
like,
Reiki master, right?
I am.
Yeah.
The reason I
Fantastic.
got involved is because I spoke at an event. This was like the height of my career. By the age of 30, I was living the dream, massive house on the cul-de-sac, $120,000 Mercedes. And you know what? Like, I climbed the ladder of success and it was leaning against the wrong wall. And so it
Mm.
looked like I had everything from the outside, and on the inside, I was empty. And so somebody saw me speak at an event and they came up to me and they're like, you need to go to Reiki. They're like, I just have this feeling. And I'm like, what is Reiki? And I thought it was a bunch of hocus bullshit at first. And
Yep.
then, like, I gave it a couple tries, right? And once I kind of understood how energy works
Yeah.
and, masculine, feminine sides of the body and all of the things, like, I was like, wow, all of my ailments tend to be on my feminine side. Like, my body was screaming for me to like release that need for control and that need to be forceful, but it was like I had this chip on my shoulder with something to prove. And so it took me to like really actually go backwards in order to go forward. And so this person that sits here now 10 years ago would have never have said any of these things to you, because I actually frowned upon women that, I did. I was just like, what's wrong with
You're
her?
one
I
of
don't understand.
those.
Yeah, I was. And so now, while I believe that women should have equal rights and equal opportunity, I'm not saying that. I think we've just gotten way too far away from the way God really intended us to be with our partners and how what we were meant to do in this life, right? And so, just like our workforce, I mean, women give birth and go back to work 6 to 8 weeks after. That's
Right.
insane. We're the only country that does that. You can't even take puppies away from their moms before that, but we're sending 6 week old babies to daycare and sending postpartum moms back into the workforce. And then we wonder why, women are going insane and why there's hormone issues and also why marriages are failing. Like, to me, it actually makes perfect sense,
It
right?
really, yep. Yep.
But men need to take control, take the bull by the horns, and they need to lead, right? And that the only way, though, for a woman to trust that is to feel safe. And so if you can make a woman feel that, she
Yeah.
will give you anything you want. Literally anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. This is, guys, she's telling the truth. This is the journey for dudes because it's figuring out themselves, right? To know what is safe. Because this from work I do, and for people that are watching this, they're like, I don't even know the work you do. Like, so my thing is, I'm a facilitator. I'm an author. I wrote Heal.Thy.Man Method for men specifically to help them
Yeah.
to really find their way back to their home, to their soul, to their spirit. And I do a lot of men's facilitation work. And that means I help men with their initiation into manhood. Like, some men never get that. It happens at a lot of different times. Sometimes it happens when you least expect it, like a divorce.
Yep.
Like, it will smack you around and it will make you see things in people and things. But either way, to feel that safety, for it to have a woman feel safe like that, I realize is so key. In order for me to create that environment, I have to create that within myself. And I think there's so much propaganda out there towards men. Well, men, you got to act like this, and patriarchy. And patriarchy is some shit based on a couple dudes. It's like, hold up, man. We basing this whole population off of some foolishness, some tomfoolery from these jabronis, man. Like, what are we doing? But what happened is men have, in my judgment, men have lost their way.
Mm-hmm.
Men can say, oh, well, this is what this is. Like, oh, I'm supposed to be a man. But dudes don't even know what that means. Right. So when we're talking about like just the sheer common sense of things, for example, the walking outside. Hey, I remember hearing that for a long time. Like, hey, if you want to protect someone, let them walk on the outs. Let them walk on the inside. So just in case
Mm-hmm.
anything happens, you're good, right? So it's like your lady, your wife, your kids, like whatever. You like your mama, like your elderly, like whoever you want to
Yeah.
protect. You on the outside, so like, so it's a common sense piece, just that. But being willing to nurture in nature, I think, is one of those things. Like, it gets this I guess what, a misconception, whatever it is, about like dudes don't nurture. But the thing is a protector is a nurturer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hello. But because guys, and this is a piece I think you talked about, that 50-50 ratio, right? Because women are out here saying like they want the sixes, right? Like, the six figures, the 6 foot, the 6 inch, right? Like, okay, great. That's an anomaly. That's a unicorn, okay? Because most dudes won't reach 6 figures on a national level. Most dudes won't make that. Most dudes are 5'8". Like, so you gotta see, and most dudes ain't rocking 6 inches. Like, so I mean, listen, I don't know, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
we're looking at these things that are anomalies. So now all of a sudden, from a man's perspective, and just listening to a lot of these men's stories as they're coming out of this doldrum, right? Is that like, how am I gonna compete with that? So there's already this inadequacy that's put in. But the thing is men have no space to really like, yo, who am I? Because as soon as a dude can know that, then I could be like, oh, I know who I am, so I got you. What you mean?
Yeah, and how they overcome that is
How do
confidence.
they? Right.
Yeah, confidence, knowing who they are. Most one of the most safe masculine men I know is my ex-husband. Like, our marriage fell apart for other reasons. That dude is 5'7", 160 pounds, soaking wet. Okay, but when he enters a space, he commands the space with, not because he, with his energy, right? Like, I could say a lot of things about my ex-husband, but like at the end of the day, if the apocalypse hits, I know where I'm going because he'll
Word.
figure it out.
Yep.
Like, I always know he'll figure it out, right? And
Yep.
so, and I see that in my son. The interesting thing to me is, I'll go out on a date with my 14-year-old son. He
Hmm.
opens the door for me. He makes sure he sits facing the door to the restaurant. His back isn't turned. He'll open the door for me. He pays for me. You know what I mean? This is my 14-year-old. Okay. Then you go out with grown ass men and you're like, I refuse to raise a son that is not going to be a good husband.
Yo, Chrissy, listen, and bless up to your ex and your boy, right? Because like, bless up. Listen, there's only gonna be a select few dudes that are gonna be acting this way going forward. Because I mean, like, listen, I'm all for men. I want to have this stuff out here to help men find their way. It's like the beacon, like hello, like the people at the airport. But not everybody gonna make it.
No, and a lot of people, the problem is people live in victim mentality and victim mode, right? They don't take accountability. And hey, listen, we all have trauma. Our parents did the best they could with what they had, and some people had it way worse, right? It's not a competition, but at some point, you have
Mhm.
to take responsibility for yourself and who you're becoming. It's never too late to change. And
Right.
you just have to want it, but you also have to be willing to let go of the blame and the victim mode and the shame and everything else that you feel, right? And we have so many outlets these days to get help to address trauma, and I think that's the one thing that I love, especially with work that you do, right? You create a safe space for men to feel like they can come to you for help. They can, share, their inadequacies, their deepest traumas, all of those things, because
Mhm.
it was frowned upon for so long. And that's where toxic masculinity comes from, right? Where men that rule with like an iron fist, right? There's a big difference between somebody having like strong masculine energy and somebody being a complete narcissistic asshole, right? That's
Yes, indeed.
abusive or uses money for power. I mean, listen, that is out there and that is a valid thing, right? However, we're talking about healthy masculinity and how it's like frowned upon these days, and we need more of it. Like, the world needs more of it,
Right.
right? And when
Right.
women are like, we don't need men, and I'm like, really? Because who you calling when you need to change your oil? Who
So
you
look,
calling when you don't have heat in your house? Who you
so
calling when you need to pick up something that's 300 pounds? Who you calling?
right. So it's interesting, right? So I gotta bring this up because um this is like a situation I went through recently, right? And I thought it was very interesting because for me personally, like you mentioned something I'm coming back to, making sure the dude is facing the door, right? For me, that's always been a thing. Now, I recognize it's been a thing for me a couple reasons because like growing up, like I was like one of the few in like a lot of white towns. So a lot of times for me it was for safety. Then like as I got older, it's like I like learned from the OGs. It's like yo, you make sure you know what's going on, son. So like if you with someone, you get out of there, right? So it's like I've been on
Yeah,
dates, right? I've been on dates, and I'm like go to a table, I'm pulling out the chair for the seat to the back of the place so I can get the booth seat, right? And they go into the booth. And I'm like, you like that seat? I'm like, and it would annoy the shit out of me. And I'm like, so I'm curious, like, what had you, and I always end up asking, like, I'm curious, like, so what had you sit right there? Because usually, like, I'll just go over and sit next to them, like, yo, listen, you know what? And just chill. But I'm always get curious. And it's something you said before. There's so much of a mentality for women now to handle and manage it all.
yeah,
So much that these women are like, well, I want to see what's going on. So there's a thing there. Okay, they gotta have that control, but also there's a trust thing there.
yeah. It's a trust safety thing for sure, and
Yeah.
that's it. I like, I want to be able to feel like when I'm with the man that I'm with, that I can leave my brain at home. Like, I don't need to worry about where I'm going, how I'm getting there, who's driving, where my wallet, like it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right? I want
Right.
to literally be able to just take the brain out of my head, put it down and leave. And then
Right.
that's it.
Right.
That I mean, that's really for me, like that's it, right?
Right.
And this is my other pet peeve while we're on it, is
Go
I
for it.
see so many people. I pay attention to this stuff now. Now that I'm like so attuned to it, of course, you notice things.
Hmm.
How many women are driving? I know it seems like such a small thing, okay? But I see families pulling up everywhere.
And the
The
woman's
woman is
driving.
driving, right? Not only is the woman driving, but then she's the one getting the stroller out of the back, getting all the kids out of the car, carrying the groceries, carrying the diaper bag, and dad's just walking. And I'm like, wait a minute. So now I notice, right, all of these things. It's like, don't even try to say something crazy to me like, are you driving tonight? No, the answer is no,
No.
right?
Right.
No. you know? So, and this was
It's
something that happened to one of my friends recently, and I'm not going to name names, but it was not me personally. I have some of my own stories, but they
yeah.
were going to the beach
Yeah.
and he was driving her car. Okay. They pull up to the gas station and he's waiting for her to give him her credit card because he was driving her car. And so she's telling me this, and I'm like, oh, brother. And then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, now, do you really want to go home and, suck this guy's dick? Like, no, you don't. So it's something that's like so small, right? Um, but
But, like so. Okay. Pause for a second. This is the thing I'm talking about because I don't think dudes understand the impact of this.
no, they don't.
Right.
They don't get that
It-
it's the compound effect.
right. Right. So this thing of, well, I don't understand why she may not want to have sexual relations with me because, dude, she's your mother. And you said this before too, and I've been hearing like, look, because I'm listening, I'm listening to stuff. You know how we are, you know how we do.
Yeah.
We're observant as hell.
Yeah.
So I listen to stuff, and this dude I watched, Coach Greg Adams, man, he drops it. He brings some real stuff. But he said years ago, he's like, man, women are the new men, and men are the new women. And I was like, wow. And over the years, I continue to see examples like what you said. And when I ask men about it, they're like, what? I'm like, dude, and it's like peeling back the layers, peeling it back to get into that core realization. Because dudes are stubborn. I'm gonna
Hmm.
speak for myself. I don't represent all dudes. I know I'm stubborn as a motherfucker, man. Right?
Yeah.
So you gotta tell me, like, if you tell me two times, you may have to tell me 57 for me to actually get it, right? But I gotta peel it back to have them understand the relevance. Like, look, if you're gonna be the leader, and I get like in the modern society, it's gotta be a two-income household. But at a certain point, like, yo, when shit goes down, what are you gonna do? Right? Like Mike, there's a guy. Have you ever heard of this guy, Mike Rashid?
No.
You would dig him, right?
I might see it. Like sometimes I see people's things, but don't know their names.
Oh yeah, okay, yes, I'm the same. Once I see him, I'm like, oh, that dude,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So Mike Rashid, I forget how he started off. He was like, but don't ever say you can be calm if you're unable to be dangerous. And I think that's the thing that's missing in men. That's like a primal urge and like a space to reconnect. Like, yo, if shit goes down, I'm fucking shit up in here, man.
yeah. I mean,
And
some of the strongest men I know at this point, like physically, emotionally, mentally,
yeah,
they train in martial arts or they have like some, and not all violence is bad, right? And I think
right,
that men
right,
have this, right? They have primal urges. Men are very like physical, they're very visual. That's a primal urge that we taught for so long that it shouldn't be that way. And
right,
so I think that is an outlet that men need, right? And I think
right.
there's discipline in it. And
That's it.
it is like, when a man can be like a lion outside, but like a lamb in the house with his family, like that's ultimately what every woman wants, right? Like here I am walking with my pit bull down the street, but then he walks in the front door, he sees me and he's a golden
He's
retriever,
like,
right? Like
yo.
That's really what we want. But I also want to know that he could fuck shit up outside of the house, right? Like
Right.
I want to know,
Well,
right?
yes. And here's the thing, right? Here's the thing that's it's a double-edged sword because I've been in that space where it's like, well, I didn't have things like martial arts. Like I had like wrestling and weights, but there's a certain discipline to the arts because it's able to be able to hurt someone and also have the ability to walk away.
Right. The
Be like
control.
the control, right? That's a part of being there. Like, look, I'm gonna, you know what? You're right. I'm an asshole. I just
Yeah.
want to get my family home because, like, I'll be in jail for a couple nights if I mess with you. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
A
going.
man in control is a dangerous man, right?
Right. Like you got because sometimes you got to walk away. But the thing that what I want to come to is that there's instances where men will tap into that primal power, and all of a sudden they're vilified for it.
Yes.
And then it becomes, I'm not showing that at all. And now that's not a place for men to trust. Because like I know for me, I've had girlfriends where it was a lot of fun. But like, yo, when they would get impacted like, oh man, Paul's this, ha 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 ha. Yeah, he's a lot of fun. But it's like, yo, man, listen, when Paul's doing that work and Paul's processing shit at home, Paul's a dark motherfucker. Can you chill with that? Right? Can you
Yeah.
handle it? Can you be up here just calm while I'm downstairs smashing bottles to let go of my anger? Because like there's been a situation, it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm scared. Oh man, here we go. Like, I don't know, he's
Right.
just violent. Okay. Like, and then there were years, Chrissy, where it was like, I can't let that show.
Right.
And then that led me to that space where it was like, well, like you were talking about, hey, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You want to? Oh, you want to go get your nails done? What? No, we going to arcade. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
right, right. I mean, that's the thing. It's got to be that way. And so, what you were saying about men becoming women and women becoming men,
yeah,
that's what I always say. I'm like, women are becoming the men they want to date, and it's sad because I went on a girls' trip probably 3 years ago. We went to Alberta, Canada, and there was four of us, and all of us are very successful, high earners, whatever. And
yeah,
so, but the things that we did for one another, like, we took care of reservations, we planned hikes, we made sure that, we each had each other's coffee creamers. And if the first person up in the morning, handed somebody else a cup of coffee, and we're like, these are the things that we want men to do for us. And it was like, why? We could do this for each other, right? But like in
right.
our relationships at the time, that wasn't happening, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so it's what every woman really does desire is
Mm-hmm.
to feel that way, you know.
Like, when you say to feel that way, like, what does that mean? Like, feel what way?
I mean, like especially for me. I mean, this is for me personally, but I just know
Yeah,
from obviously like attracts like. So a lot of my community that I spend time with are like me.
right,
So like, all day long I have to make decisions. I'm in charge. I'm constantly on.
right.
So when I come home, I don't want to be on anymore. I
Mm,
want to feel like I don't have to lock the doors tonight. I don't want to have to think about it. I don't want to have to shut you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to do that when I get home,
right,
right?
right.
And so women are just so overwhelmed and there's no shut off.
Yeah,
And these are women that have men in their lives. And so to go back to the dual income thing, that's all well and good if we're dual income at this point. But then we should also be dual who cooks dinner, dual who cleans up, dual who takes care of the kids, right?
yeah.
Like women are still shouldering all of that
Mm-hmm.
plus working, right? And so we're just burnt out. And
Mm,
there's no room for a woman to really be a woman in that.
mm,
And
yeah,
and then yes, it creates animosity, it creates resentment
yeah,
within the relationship, and then when it comes to like sex and stuff, you're like, I just A, I'm tired, but B, I'm not in that space. Like where men are physical and visual, women are not. That
yeah.
emotional connection and safety needs to be there. So if the only
Mm,
time we feel like you're showing up for us is because you want to get laid, like guess what?
yeah. Ain't gonna happen.
It ain't gonna happen now.
Yeah. Yep. I remember I was one of the hardest lessons for me to learn in relationship. Especially because it's and I got my guys, I'm telling you, everybody's like, hey, I want to get a girl. It's one thing to get a woman, it's another thing to keep her.
to keep her. Oh, I love that. That
Okay.
is true.
Yo, it's like, yo, I'm telling yo, I know we got like maybe 10 minutes left, but I'm gonna tell you guys right now. Because one of the things like in alignment with what you were saying, which I don't like I was hearing what you were saying. I remember one of my exes would say, like, I don't hear from you all day. And now all of a sudden you want something. I just want to know that I matter, like you're thinking about me.
Right.
And I'm like, of course I'm thinking about stubborn ass. And it wasn't until we broke up and I was like processing the relationship, and I'm like, damn, she has a point. What I was hearing you saying when you're on the girls' trip and it's like, hey, cup of coffee, it's paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
If you know, like, yo, she likes coffee, how she like the coffee? It's being aware of some little things, because I don't think it takes much for each side to really learn. Okay, like I trust
Yeah.
you,
I
right?
dated a guy once, and one of the things that he did that I loved, in the notes in his phone under my name, he would write things. So, like my shoe
Mm.
size, the way I liked my coffee, my favorite
Yeah,
color, so when he was out in the wild, right, and he saw something or whatever, he was
yeah,
able to bring something to me, right, or whatever. And everybody has a different love language, but every woman wants to feel appreciated. And so I love that, because I'd be like, how did you remember all of these things? And he's like, well,
yeah.
he's like, as you would tell me things, I would put it in a note in the phone under your name, right? And so then he
Hmm.
ended up with like all the things about me,
Yeah,
and so it was easy for him to do things for me.
yeah, yeah.
And
That's
so
what's up.
it's women, and also our brains, we need consistency.
Yeah.
And so
Mm.
a healed woman needs consistency. An unhealed woman is going to go for that high, low, toxic, in out bullshit, right? Because that's what our brains are addicted to until we understand how to get out of that cycle. And I
Yeah.
forget what psychiatrist did this like study, but she did it on pigeons. And so they started with two pigeons, and one pigeon was fed consistently at the same time every single day. And so that pigeon was very calm, in control. What they did with the second pigeon was they fed it at random times. Sometimes they would feed it like 10 times in one day and then not feed it for 3 days. And then sometimes they would feed it, it was very intermittent and inconsistent. And the pigeon would constantly be hitting at the feeder and constantly be going crazy and whatever. And so their point was, that's what happens in toxic relationships. When you have consistency, you are calm, you feel safe, your nervous system's at rest. When you don't have consistency, you're crazy. So I always say, like, another big red flag for me, men, if I'm on a date and all of your exes are crazy, let me tell you something. I know not all of your exes are crazy. You made them that way, right? Women are crazy. I will say that. Okay. However, when women really, really get crazy, there's a reason for it. And so that's the pigeon theory. All right. The pigeon theory, they're crazy for a reason. So if every single one of your relationships is somebody else's fault,
Yo, you got work to do, son.
you got work to do. That is the biggest red flag for me. And that goes back to all those husbands in the DMs. Because guess what? None of them are in happy marriages because their wives just don't do what they need them to do. And I'm like, if you only knew who you just tried to approach,
Man, they just don't know. They
they
weren't
don't
paying
even
attention.
know. They
They
don't
weren't
even
paying.
know. Because they're
So,
about to get served. So, you know, but that is the biggest red flag to me, because you are not showing any accountability.
right.
And that's the biggest thing for women to feel safe in an environment, in a relationship, is consistency. So
Yeah.
that good morning text, that middle of the day, like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm really busy today, but I'm thinking about you.
Yeah.
Or, and men are like, it's controlling if you want to know where I am. No, it's respect.
Right.
Like, I
Right.
don't need your location all the time. I don't want your location all the time. But, if we're in a relationship, I should at least know where you are,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
And yeah, that's a piece I dealt with as well. Because that was some trauma shit. That was some
Yeah.
trauma shit. And that was my armor and sword. What do you want to know I am? Blah, 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 blah. I want to respect our time. But before we wrap, you like I really so here's my thoughts about what's happening with relationships, right? I'm curious how you would think men can build from here. So my thought right now is that men need to focus in on themselves for a bit. And while that's happening, I think that there's going to be the majority of women that are going to date a select few men. I think there's going to be more polyamorous or those types of relationships. I just think there's going to be in the young person's dating pool, there's going to be a lot of churn. And I don't know if guys are able to handle that, right? I think they're very sensitive. And also, as far as success, I think most men are going to have to be in the type of relationship where it is a 50-50. And that's going to bring different dynamics. So,
Mhm.
with that being said, right, for the guys that are getting in a relationship and turning the tides on like only a select few getting dates, what is it that you see men get to work on, hone in, get the reps in to be able to have the relationship, that 50-50 relationship to build with their partner?
I think you're spot on. I think it's, you need to go inward because to your point, there's so many women that are like 666. And I'm like, okay, like whatever.
Right.
Great. Okay, cool. If a man really knows who he is, he just shows up differently. When a man walks in a space and the energy shifts in a good way,
Yeah.
that's a man that knows who he is. Right. And so that's something for me that I look for. I'm like, how do you show up in a space? Are you timid? Are you unsure of yourself? So confidence in who you are and where you're going, right? That makes me want to get on the train because there's a plan, right? I don't get in the car without a plan. And so why do I want to get in a relationship if you're not leading the bus? And so a man needs to know where he's going first before he can expect to take somebody with him. And that doesn't mean that he's shouldering all of it, right? That can mean it's 50-50. It can mean it's 60-40. I actually don't believe in 50-50. I think that relationships are 100-100, right? And so that is something that so many people, and some days like I might be 90 and you might be 10, some days I might be 40, you might be 60, but it's 100-100, right? It's not 50-50. And so again, like I said, so many men are caught up on like, well, she's just a gold digger. She's No, there's so many other ways to exchange energy other than just money, right? If you're taking a load off my plate with so many other things and I'm the breadwinner, that's still okay. Like I actually
Right.
know people that have healthy relationships where the woman actually out earns the man, right? But their polarity and their dynamic is set,
Yes.
right? Like who you are at home is very different, right? Like who I am at home is very different than who I
Right.
am in the wild, right? And
Right.
so I can bring home a paycheck and still want to submit. And that's another dirty word for women when they're like, I have to be submissive. Yes. And not submissive in the sense of you have no control or you are being told what to do. But yes, that's the dynamic. And so that's the other thing men need to realize is if they want that, which most men do, from what I know, then you have to understand that you need to be the leader. You need to take initiative. Those are the things that I look for: confidence, leadership, initiative, knowing where they're going. So, one of the questions I asked, like, what's your 5 year plan? Right?
Yeah.
What is it? And what are you doing to work on yourself? Are you in therapy? Do you do men's circles? Like, what are you doing
What
to
are you
work on
doing?
yourself? Are you
Yeah.
reading personal development? Like, there's got to be something, right? And so, and I'm going to say this too. The other thing I look for, men, alcohol consumption. How much alcohol are you drinking and how much porn are you watching?
Mm.
That's that we could do a whole hour just on that
What? What?
because those are non negotiables for me.
Yo.
And, you know, that's a man that's easily controlled by his desires and his lust.
Yo. Listen, we can
We'll do another one.
we have to have another one on this.
Part two, because that is a
Yo.
whole another situation. And it is even worse than the younger generations because it was readily available. So you're fortunately like one of the last generations that it wasn't like insanely available with a phone, right?
Right.
Now the younger generation literally thinks that's what sex is.
It's
And
crazy.
they don't understand or only fan. I mean, you're talking to AI people, they're not even people, right? And you're having conversations with other women that are not your spouse. or your significant other. So that's a whole nother thing. But those are, like I said, leadership takes initiative, confidence, knows where he's going, limited alcohol consumption. And I always need to know their view on porn. Those are my big things. And like I said, it really is within the first like few conversations, you really can tell kind of where somebody's at.
Yep.
And then when it comes to set up the date,
Right.
that tells you a lot, right? Because it's were you listening to things that I like and what I was saying? And also, are you taking the initiative to plan it? Because the minute, like I said, what are we doing or where are we meeting or when are we meeting comes out of your mouth, like
Rap.
rap.
Steve. Yo, listen, this right here. Yo, this right here. I'm putting the commercial in right now. This is one of the reasons she's talking about. Chrissy B is saying like men got to know where they're going. That's why I set up the arena. Commercial time, yo, fellas. Every other week, every other Sunday, 2 times a month for right now, we have the arena. It's online. It's a space where you come check in, judgment free. Yo, find your purpose. And that looks at what's the battle you got going on, what are the tools you got in your battle, and what's a win. Then let's go get it. Guys got to know that guys got to get on purpose. It's the same thing with depression. I know we got to go, but I got to say this. It's the same thing with this men's health bullshit we see in November and June. Oh, men are dying of suicide. Blah. I get it, man. But what are you saying to a dude to help him get on his shit? I guarantee most of the dudes that are depressed and anxious don't know where they're going.
No,
And
because a man with purpose knows where he's going. And so you give a
yes.
man a purpose, you change their life. This was actually something I have a master's degree in early childhood education.
Oh,
And
you
it's
know
so
that.
interesting
Yeah.
that if you, a toddler, like one of the number one ways to like stop a tantrum with a toddler is say, hey, listen, my son's name is Noah. Hey, Noah,
Mm-hmm.
listen, mommy really needs your help taking out the garbage. I just cannot do it by myself. Can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, that tantrum is stopped because you just gave that man a purpose. And it starts at a toddler, right? And so now if I came to you, Paul, and I said, hey, listen, I really need help with XYZ. Men are fixers. They need a project, they need purpose, right? They need to feel needed. They need to feel like they have a reason. And so when you can give them a reason and a purpose, that's when they fly.
That's what I'm talking about. Listen, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Listen, I'm just putting out right now because this whole point thing is key to me because like I'll explain in the next episode, but I'm doing a weapon to wand challenge for men.
Oh, I like that.
So it's like I'm unsure of the days yet. I'm either pushing either 7 or 14 days, no porn or ejaculation.
Oh, semen retention's a big one. That's a whole nother thing we got to
It's
get
a
on.
it's a whole other thing.
Yep.
Yo, that's a look. Look. All right, so look. Okay, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
We just put this recording in. I'm gonna chop it up somehow, some way, and put it out. Listen, if you want to get in contact, Chrissy, how do they get in contact with you?
So my Instagram handle is probably the easiest. It's Chrissy B, Krissy B32. So find me. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me is on Instagram.
Chrissy B
32.
32.
Yep.
Bless up, everybody, and you'll see my stuff in there. Heal.Thy.Man method. Hook it up. Chrissy, thank you. It's a wrap.
Thank you, Paul.